Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Brandon.
And Ryan.
And Chad.
Welcome, everybody, back to your favorite Monday night show, Hall of Fame, Hall of Shame. This is the show where we take two issues under a similar theme. We let you guys know what happened to them. We let you know what we thought about them, and then sort them into Hall of Fame and Hall of Shame, which one matched that theme better. Today is kind of a doozy. We have a huge episode. This is episode 15, you guys. This is episode 15. Big episode 15, and we are doing Edge of the Spider-Verse. A little early, but we're doing it. We're doing it because why not? We're talking about Ultimate Fallout 4 against Edge of Spider-Verse #2. These are the first appearances of the two biggest characters coming out of the Spider-Verse. You know, we all love that movie very much. Probably the best soundtrack in film. I'll say.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
One of the best Spider-Man movies.
Exactly.
One of the best. Exactly. One of the best major release animated movies in general. I mean, it was incredible.
Oh yeah,
it really was. You know, we have the first appearance of Miles Morales, first appearance of Spider-Gwen. Wow, this is going to be awesome. Thank you guys both for joining me. Before we get into the books, I do want to take a moment to say hello to the chat. We got Missing Link hanging out here nice and early. We got some tailgaters today. You don't see that a lot, so wow, that's awesome. We got PM Nerdy in here. Station, my friend, how you doing? Station, you too, Mr. Link. We got Steven in here. Station, sir. And we got Santana in here. How are you doing today? If you guys have an opinion on any of these books, I'm sure you guys have read them. If not, enjoy the show. And if you do want to pay the insane price for these books, I recommend don't and read them digitally or buy them in a trade, because these books are both worth a good bend in the wallet.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, so don't. I would not go out and make it your top priority to get yourself an Ultimate Fallout 4 or for Spider-Gwen. I did, however, buy it for a birthday gift to a friend but that's a different story. But that was before
we moved.
Yep, was all the way up. Yeah. All right, Ryan. I didn't buy it for you. I got you another book.
Wow. Ultimate Fallout 4 goes for $1,100 to $1,500 on eBay.
What condition is it in? 9.8.
9.5 or 8.5 for the $1,500 one.
An 8.5. Wow. See, there are enough modern books out there of that. It's crazy, guys. So I recommend reading it in a trade or reading it digitally. Don't pay out the ass for it. Even the second printing is crazy expensive.
Unless Miles Morales or Spider-Gwen specifically is your favorite character in the entire world, then maybe you look into it. But if not,
what else you can do? You can enter a mystery box for cheap.
That's true.
And
That's true.
But you only do that so many times before you don't get lucky.
Brandon hit the jackpot.
I did. You know, if you guys want to see the video, check out Christ on Infinite Ranch, the latest installment on Tag Team Thursday.
Yes.
Where I unboxed my Grail that I paid literally nothing for in the grand scheme of things. How are you doing, Minigated? How are you doing, my dear? Yeah, wow. What's going on the Ryan Pet channel? Tell the people where they can find you. What's doing with it?
So I burned my finger today making breakfast.
No one cares about that.
The blister, it hurts.
Shut up. What's going on in your show?
Well, basically, Chad and I, we have a YouTube channel. If you don't know, if this is your first time catching it, called Ryan and Chad, ironically. If you search it up, you'll find a bunch of High School Musical things. But if you scroll down a little bit, you will find our channel.
You guys don't dance. I don't dance.
Interesting fact, actually.
I do dance.
I do dance because if for anyone in here, interesting fact, I was set to be Troy Bolton in my final production because I did plays in high school. I was going to be Troy Bolton in High School Musical, but it was canceled because of the coronavirus. So,
wait, Ryan, sing?
I do sing.
Sing first, real quick.
I'm not going to sing because then it's going to be taken out of context. I'm not vocally warmed up. But the point is,
I'm not vocally warmed up. Look at me, guys.
Okay, if you're a singer, you'd know. Any singers out there, you got my back. You need to vocally.
Yeah, I know. My shower head thinks I'm amazing.
But so Chad and I, lot of cool stuff going on recently. Actually, ironically, if you look behind Brandon, a character that is near and dear to all of our hearts in this show right now. But specifically someone that Chad and I had not really talked about on our channel that much was one of our favorite characters, Daredevil. So we are diving headfirst into Daredevil. We just released a big video about reading orders, overview, anyone looking to get in the character. And we're kind of taking our audience in on a journey with us exploring Daredevil. Coming out next week will be a big, I think, 3-hour almost review of Mark Waid's Daredevil run, the first half, or 2/3 basically, but the first 2/3 of Waid's Daredevil, because that's where Chad and I started with our Daredevil journey. So kind of starting with that, it's just some cool other stuff, some indie stuff coming up, some DC stuff, Wednesday Warriors, all that stuff. So
there you go. Well, you guys are quite the busy birds. And Ryan, do you have anything, or not Ryan, Chad, do you have anything going on? Because Ryan seems like he has a lot on his plate.
It's our
I know.
Ryan and I, we were both doing the Daredevil reviews. Expect like a long series of that. We're gonna get into Frank Miller, all those guys. I also released a Green Lantern review from Jeff John's run recently, so check that out. I got a Swamp Thing review up there. Ryan has a Thor review going on, so we got lots of reviews cooking over there. And also, one of our more requested videos are our both like top 5 each favorite Batman stories of all time. So if you guys want to know how Ryan and I view The Dark Knight, check out our top 5 favorite graphic novels from the world's greatest detective himself,
the Cape Crusader.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's not me. But wow, you guys are definitely busy birds. Definitely check out Ryan and Chad. If you guys click my channel, theirs is directly linked to mine because we're kind of collab a lot, so it makes sense. He's the only one there. He's the only one there, which makes him very, very special. Even though they're never in any of my live streams, they're special.
Brandon, you're featured on our channel too. All right, we got you.
I know, but let's get into the books. Let's talk of, as you guys know, at the end of the video, we do sort in the Hall of Fame, Hall of Shame. If you guys missed the intro, we take 2 issues on a similar theme, and we see which one's in the Hall of Fame, which one's in the Hall of Shame, relating onto that topic. Today's Ultimate Fallout number 4 versus Edge of Spider-Verse number 2, so 2 huge books. Let's start. Okay.
Hold on. I just want to do a quick thing, not only for the chat, but for us as well. Are we doing it in terms of the character, in terms of how lasting and important the character has been, in terms of the more lasting and impactful one in Hall of Fame?
Which issue makes you want to read more about the character?
I like that. That's Brandon, genius. Right. What issue makes you want to read more about the character? I like that. All right. A lot of
times, right, when you're first introducing a character, it takes a few issues for them to get going. What is up, Bobby? How are you doing, sir? You said hello to Tia because you can't say hello to us too. Come on now. What do you think this is, a bed and breakfast? So yeah, it's really what makes you want to read the character more. That's really what these first appearances come down to, and that's will draw you in. Like, look at the first appearance of Punchline, right? Did it want to? For most people, that was yes. Some people, it was no, and I think that was a huge debate in the world.
Yeah,
in the comic world, there's characters like that. So we're gonna do the same situation under this circumstance. Ultimate Fallout number 4 is by Brian Michael Bendis, Jonathan Hickman, my favorite, not really Nick Spencer, Sarah Bachelet, Salvador Larocca, and Clayton Crane. Holy Mother Moses, that was a mouthful.
You could tell it's by 10 different people as well.
Yeah, because the art really changes throughout, and the style, the script, everything just felt so fluctuated in this book. But it's divided into 3 different stories. Okay, so when they're talking about Spider-Man, it is going to be by Brian Bendis and Sarah Bachelet. Justin Pond is doing the colors, R.I.P. When they're talking about Reed Richards, which is, if you guys are reading Donny Cates' Venom, or if you have read his Venom, this is the maker. This is the Reed Richards that is bringing back the Ultimate Universe. Sorry for the spoiler, but you had a week and a half to read it. But you had a month. We knew this like in issue 30 of Venom. But and then Valerie Cooper is written by Nick Spencer or by Clayton Crane, which is very art carried because I don't think Nick Spencer is good. So
it was that the 2 women talking at the table was like, oh my god, get me out of this as soon as possible.
Right. Oh my gosh, it was like that one broadcast on CNN. You just flip the channel and hope you.
Yeah, it's just like. Or like they entice you in with a headline, like you see somebody picking up Spider-Man's mask, you're like, That's the headline. It's like, bombing or like huge plane crash at 8, and then it's like, and now we talk about like,
Valley Cooper's show. Who cares?
We talk about paint drying for the next 30 minutes. And you're like, just get to the good stuff.
Right. So we start off with Reed Richards, who he died, quote unquote, in the negative zone, which is a kind of a dimension that brings together the Ultimate Universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's just floating there, basically just contemplating things.
Right. He looks like Multiple Man in space. He looks like a Multiple.
He does look like Multiple Man,
which I thought was a little ironic. Which I thought it was a little ironic, but this is where he's kind of hatching, like he's kind of reliving everything that he did. So obviously, like the Avengers had to stop him because he's big bad. He's evil. He's evil. What's his name? Evil Reed Richards. So
yes, evil Mr. Fantastic.
So obviously, he has a few tricks up his sleeve.
Yeah, I really like the Maker. I think Donny Cates writes a really good Maker. But he's basically, if the whole thing about Reed Richards is like, he's like, I'm all facts and numbers. I don't really understand the heart part of it. But in the end of every Fantastic Four story, he's like, we're going to beat this because I found my heart and I found my family.
With the power of family.
Gray hair.
Yeah, exactly. And then the Maker is, we all know what happened to the Fantastic Four, in the Ultimate Universe. And it's like, well, what if Reed Richards lost that kind of plot armor of
he's
family?
Never got laid.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like a monster.
Reed Richards, who never got laid. Let's be real, guys.
Yeah, his whole thing is like, Sue, marry me. She's like, we're like 19 years old. Would you please leave me alone?
Big facts. So anyway, he's floating around the negative zone, bringing out some concoction that'll bring him back to Earth, right? So, that was the past, and then we see what he's doing now. What he's doing now is he's really just assessing. I don't want to say like a clone army. It's like a clone army, but they have different. It's not a clone army. They just look very stormtrooper-y or clone-like.
It was really weird. They all look like me and Chad. Weirdly, mostly Chad, but yeah, it was. He assembled this. Basically, he gets back from the negatives, or he had gotten back because it was a flashback, and he's in this lab, and he's like, "Hello, everybody. I'm going to put you in an experiment, and most of you are going to die. But the ones that don't, you're going to be really important for science."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's Jonathan Hickman in a nutshell.
I love Jonathan Hickman.
It's 100% Hickman, just doing his thing. So you can't really blame him. So then the next story is, oh my gosh, I can't even fathom the story. This is weird. Like Clayton Crane draws his butt out in it.
Yeah, I gotta say, the art was really, really cool. I love this kind of style of art. And it really threw me through a curveball because LaRocca's art's very more straightforward for the Reed Richards, and then it transitions into this kind of like fever dream kind of art.
Yeah.
Yeah, really watercolor.
Hyper realistic.
Yeah, helps with the melancholy sort of tone. And honestly, like we could break it down, but it's basically just 6 pages of walls of text box talking about nothing, and then a cool reveal at the end, talking about how I need to call the president. The world's about to find out that the United States government created mutants, and then it's like, but you're like, was that reveal worth the 4 pages of just Guardian Devil straight text box?
No. And then the last story is actually the part where everyone cares about. This is where the plot of Miles Morales is, and this is where he really comes in. So we're in New York City, and there's a huge bar. There's a bar fight, and Miles Morales, who puts on the Spider-Man suit because Peter Parker has died in this Ultimate Universe, is part of the Ultimate Universe. So the Ultimate Universe, they're like different Earths in a sense, different Ultimate Universes. They're different Ultimate. Am I making sense? You guys know what I mean.
Yeah.
There's like several of them, several Ultimate Universes.
So if you're a DC fan, think Crisis on Infinite Earth. We were just talking about that today. That's like that show's been on my mind all day. So it's like, oh, it's a frustrating show right now. But I don't know what to do with it. I want to revamp it, but it's like something's gonna happen with that show. I don't even know what's going on with it right now. But
this
I never know what's going on with it, but it's gonna be structured.
Let me just start off by saying this is so Brian Michael Bendis. Like it's the only look. I didn't really like it, first of all, but I did chuckle when the crowd is looking at Spider-Man and they're like, "Man, that's in poor taste."
Well,
They say that like 4 times. I chuckled at that.
It felt really weird because knowing Miles now and rereading this is I've read both these issues before, which is what prompted me to bring this up as the topic. But I've read both of these before, but this really reminds me straight up like Ultimate Spider-Man. This is literally, it's the same dialogue. It's like the same kind of structure of the panels and the layouts, but it's more copy and paste.
Miles was a bit quippy for someone who literally just became Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's like the witty remarks, like, "Oh, does everyone have powers?" I'm like, knowing Miles today, that's not what Bendis had in mind for him when he came over into like normal timeline, even his own stories in the Ultimate Universe. So, but we're not discussing that. Like, it felt off. As reading it right now, it didn't feel like the Miles character. However, this is your first introduction to Miles, and you automatically think Peter Parker, but the rest of the audience is there like, he's not there anymore. I actually know because the guy's like half his size, but I don't know. Chad, what did you think of this kind of sequence?
I mean, for one, when Miles Morales was introduced, he was more of a Peter Parker copycat than he was his own person. And as the years went on, he really got more character development. Movies like Into the Spider-Verse did a great job with Miles. Same thing with the PS4 video game. That did a wonderful job with Miles. And Ryan, I think like everyone's saying, "Oh, the costume is in bad taste." It was funny the first time.
Yes.
And then it got old very fast. Although I did like the punchline at the very end of, "Oh, maybe the costume's in bad taste." But yeah, it really did feel like Bendis just continuing with the Ultimate Universe, which would have been fine, but with this you don't really get a sense of who Miles really is at all. You just get a sense that he's just a different Spider-Man.
It kind of felt like Bendis wanted to tell the story of the death of Spider-Man. Like Bendis was like, "All right, I want to kill Spider-Man."
Well, he already did.
No, but I'm saying like before he killed Spider-Man, he thought to himself, "I want to kill Spider-Man. You can't kill Spider-Man main 616, but I want to tell this beautiful death of Spider-Man." And then they're like, "All right, Brian, awesome. So you're going to hop off the book after? Like, what are you going to do?" He's like, "Oh, no, I still want to write Spider-Man." And they're like, "But you're going to kill him." And then he's like, No. I'm still going to write Spider-Man, but I'm going to kill Spider-Man, but I'm going to make a new Spider-Man, but I'm just going to write him like the old Spider-Man, so it's like nothing happened.
So if you guys have read Bendis' Ultimate Spider-Man, this feels like the same thing, except Mark Bagley's not doing the art. Sarah Pachilli.
Really does do a fantastic job. I love the bug eyes on Spider-Man. I'm a sucker for the bug-eyed Spider-Man.
Right, and he's fighting Kangaroo Man, and the whole crowd is watching, so all eyes are on this kid who's fighting Kangaroo Man, who's wearing like this UK leather jacket. So it's like if Kraven had a British accent essentially and was a little bit weaker and stupider. So it's like 3 knockoffs of Kraven.
The issue just didn't do it for me. I was just at one point because I'm going to keep it a full stack. My brain was off reading this. About Spider-Man was, he comes in and he's talking and I'm like, wait, isn't Peter Parker dead? Because my brain didn't realize, oh wait, this is Miles. It felt just like Peter. And especially Bendis is Peter, who's just like a quip machine. I mean, my goodness. And it was just like this is one of the cool things about Ultimate Spider-Man is like you had these like the Venom story was like super big and bombastic. The original, like when the Green Goblin was first introduced, these big bombastic storylines. But then the cool thing about the Ultimate Spider-Man is like you'll have like half an issue where Spider-Man stops this small street level bad guy who's just not really posing a big threat. And that's really cool to see. All right, maybe not all of Spidey's fights are this huge kind of bombastic, sprawling, multiple part arc. Sometimes it's just a one and done thing. And that it reminded me a lot of that, but just kind of bland. Like Chad's absolutely right. I did like the it's in poor taste, but maybe I think they say it like 4 times. Maybe if it was like twice, maybe if like maybe if they said it and then Bendis reaffirms it with another one saying it, and then you think to yourself, wow, people are thinking this is in poor taste, and then Miles reiterates it at the end. Maybe that's like
right
a joke, but he says it like every time there's a new crowd.
He gets. I mean, the kangaroo guy. He steps on this guy who owes him money. Steps on this guy's like chest.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he killed him, but then it looked like a pretty intense like kick, and then it shows like right after he gets stepped on the chest, he's like, "Wow, Spider-Man, your costume's in poor taste." I'm like, okay, this man is like down and out right now. He's not going to be being like, "Are you sure you want to wear that out of the house?"
Yeah. It's like, really poor from you.
I just thought it was a little off-putting, There's a whole until like the reveal at the end that it was a different Spider. I'm like, hey, this might just be a younger Peter Parker, Like we all know he's dead, and that felt very like thrown onto us. We get it, Bendis. We get it. That's how I was saying myself the whole time. This comic, he can be more powerful than Peter. The only thing is we didn't get to know his powers until he was in his own series. So if this was your first time reading Miles, my question is, did you think that it was the same Peter Parker? Because we didn't understand at the time that this was like kind of like where they were taking his powers, where they were going to diversify himself from the typical Spider-Man trope.
And I think the wording, the more significant Spider-Man, I do not agree with.
To some people, because it's very subjective. It's very subjective. Arguing because I can totally see someone's point of view of them saying, "Oh, Miles is my Spider-Man," or a young female saying, "Spider-Gwen is my Spider-Man." I can totally see it. And that's the beauty of where comics are right now.
You're significant is different. You're saying who's your favorite, okay? If you want to, if Brandon, you want to say Miles is your favorite Spider-Man, cool. That's your favorite's your favorite. Peter is undoubtedly the more significant Spider-Man. If you look at the monthly sales of, well, I don't know about right now, but if you look at typical monthly sales of a Peter Parker Spider-Man book and a Miles Morales Spider-Man book, there's a big difference.
Spider-Man.
What? Yeah, exactly.
Not Spider-Man number 1, but it's sold more than all.
But but the point is, Peter will always be the main Spider-Man.
Miles does have that edge, though. I think also instead of significant, maybe he meant like more powerful, because like the Venom Blast. No. The Venom Blast is like a one-punch knockout for anybody. I mean, we saw it took out Noel's symbiote at one point. It left him drained, but it is wicked powerful. And also turning invisible, that is cool.
Exactly. Keeping Tom everywhere. But
but I mean, Miles doesn't even use webs at all in this issue. He doesn't have the web shooters. So all we see him have is agility, the ability to jump, and like spider sense. He doesn't seem very strong either.
Right.
So
he's like, oh, the spider thing is going on.
He almost seems like more watered down than he should be.
Right.
And Chad brought up a really interesting criticism of the issue in that this guy's the kangaroo. You figure he has really strong legs and he can jump, whatever. And it like literally smash is like taking up the entire panel on this normal person's chest. So you're like, wow, he literally just killed this guy. And so that raises the stakes. You take Kangaroo more seriously because he just murdered a man with one kick. And that artificially raises his stakes as a villain, right? And now you think, wow, this new Spider-Man has to take on someone who's like just murdered someone. That's going to be a real test. Then you realize, no, he's alive and he's making a quip. So like the point is like one of my big problems with especially current Marvel movies and yes, exactly. Current Marvel movies and current Star Wars movies. One of my big problems is sometimes they artificially lower the stakes with the joke, in the sense of like the kangaroo never feels like a threat because the guy he just used all of his smash power on is able to make a quip about Spider-Man's suit. Everyone's quipping out of their minds. So I'm like, all right, this is just a friendly fight, not this is a real menace, a guy who can murder you. And Miles was never in real danger. So that's kind of the problem, I feel.
Right. I mean, we do see that took a lot of energy out of him because he was sweating after. So it was like, okay, now we kind of see it. But again, we never knew that his Venom Blast, whenever we can turn invisible until their own series. So I guess they were banking off whatever niche. Like, I don't want to go ahead and say it was the skin color, but they were banking this off of, okay, this is a younger person. They're going to get the fan base. And yeah, it's just like Travis said, make sure you guys like the video. If you like what you're seeing on the channel, hit the subscribe button because we do have some stuff coming down the loop. More than anything, because John Beatty's going to be on the show this Thursday, and after him, John Romita Jr. is going to be on the show, which is John Romita Jr. And someone named James Tynan is going to be on the show as well in August.
Wait, who?
James Tynan.
I don't know anybody by that name.
Oh, James Tynan, the fourth Something is Killing Children, Justice League Dark, Batman.
I haven't read any of those.
Oh, okay.
I haven't heard any good things. I'm just kidding. No, but that's awesome. Seriously.
Oh yeah, that's kind of a quick little segue into that. But let's get into the next book, which is Edge of Spider-Verse #2, first appearance of Spider-Gwen, written by Jason Latour, who kind of got canceled out by culture and his own stupidity, and Robbie Rodriguez.
Who got canceled?
The writing series. Huh?
The writer got canceled?
No, he canceled himself. He was an idiot.
Well, I don't.
Don't invite women over to your hotel room by giving them free comic books. Fine.
Dude, Warren Ellis be like.
Warren Ellis during the chat, he said.
Dude, Warren Ellis, man.
I'm like, if you didn't learn from your first 5 mistakes.
Dude, he didn't even learn from his first 59. There was over 60 women.
Oh my
Come
God.
on, man.
I'm not buying another Warren Ellis comic ever. Like, if there's one creator, I'm not supporting it again. Like, I want to read Batman's Grave, but I don't want to read Batman's Grave. But
I don't care about Batman's Grave, but does it make me a bad person that I really want to? I read it digitally, but I really want to reread Moon Knight.
I mean, I'm probably gonna reread it. I mean, if I'm gonna read Moon Knight, I'm gonna read Jeff Lemire.
I kind of have the philosophy like you should try to separate the art from the artist, but like at the same time, like okay, like
that was bad. Like that's bad.
Yeah, that you could of course call him a horrible person, like, but I mean, if Leonardo da Vinci still did the Mona Lisa, it's still the Mona Lisa, you know. Even if
I don't see Warren Ellis ever doing anything on a Mona Lisa level work.
Well, but his point still stands in the sense of. I completely agree. The art is separate from the artist. But I
agree.
No, but like, look, okay. And think of how many rappers you like that are actually genuinely horrible people. And exactly. So it's like, what's his name? Not 50 Cent. What's the really bad person?
Chris Brown.
Well, like Chris Brown. Chris Brown's a good one. He's not the one like who's the one that like was like a pedophile, you know, he
Next topic.
No, but the point is you can listen to a Chris Brown song and be like, wow, this is really good. I'm enjoying this. I'm adding this to my playlist. But you also have to that doesn't lead to, oh yeah, Chris Brown, he can't do anything wrong because I like his music. No, it's like he makes a good song, but like he's a horrible human being.
I have a Chris Brown song stuck in my head. Thank you very much.
Woke up Chris Breezy. Oh my God, I'm the man.
Okay, you go.
Spider Woman? Question.
Spider Woman. Spider Gwen.
R. Kelly. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
At least
I got excited about that, but I was on the tip of my mouth. Thank you.
You being excited about that is the whole reason why R. Kelly's in trouble in the first place.
Dude, I don't like R. Kelly, but like the man has released a banger or two.
R. Kelly's a legend in the music industry, and also down at the local precinct.
I get it.
That's all I'll say about that.
Chat out of context. R. Kelly is a legend, and then they cut it.
No.
Guys, this is a comic book show. Let's bring it back.
Chad and I have like a 45-minute video of us out of context that we would just instantly get canceled if you go through all of our videos.
Oh yeah, there's if you take the context out of our channel, I'm pretty sure I've offended most ethnicities on the
We're
on the
not saying
planet
that.
by now.
I don't care. We're not saying that here. We're
No,
not saying
most European nations Chad has offended in some manner.
betting on soccer is different. Let's move forward. Thank you.
Dude, soccer was good today, but we move. All right, let's get into this another lackluster issue, to be fair.
Really, I love this book, but so this is Gwen Stacy in this Ultimate Universe. I have to say the colors are great, and she is part of a band called the Mary Janes. It's very suiting. I just love all the little fun things in there. It's harmless. It's harmless. Shut up, Ryan. It's harmless.
Yeah, I have to say I thought that Gwen Stacy being a drummer was like a really cool direction to take her character. Like I never really saw that coming. And then all of a sudden she's in a band, and I liked Mary Jane being the singer of the Mary Janes. That was cool as well.
I love how
Her like personal life is awesome.
Am I good? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
But
sorry, I was having connection issues. But yeah, no, I like the band stuff. It's very much reminds me of Ultimate Gwen Stacy, just kind of being a rocker chick and kind of like punk, bringing a knife to school.
Oh, I love it. What I liked most about this issue is they didn't take the time to really go over how she got her powers, because obviously we know how every spider person can get the powers. There's nothing special. She got bit by a spider and they moved on. I liked it, and they went in and out. Peter Parker died because he was trying to be like Spider-Woman. Like he was trying to be like Gwen Stacy Spider-Woman, and the lizard killed him. Very simple premise. Very simple, and then they can move on to the rest of the story. Okay?
Well, yeah. I do like that. I wish I knew where she was bitten and like what kind of the.
I mean, it showed her they're in the gym. The Mary Janes were playing, and a spider just hops on her hand and bites her. I was a little bit confused as to how a genetically altered spider ended up in Midtown High School.
Yes.
I was like, I mean, they could have had her on the field trip, because I imagine like that she the whole premise of that they explore a scientific research facility, a spider gets loose, it bites somebody. That inherently makes more sense than just the spider happened to being in like a certain place.
I do like how this version of Peter Parker is so tired of getting picked on, he turns himself into the lizard. I do like that. I don't know. Like it's kind of compelling. How like Peter Parker is someone else's Uncle Ben.
I did that. That was cool.
But yeah, I don't know. I think this issue, my problems. Yeah, I agree. It's literally two panel. No, it's literally one panel. But
it's like a segment. It's almost like half a page in this double spread.
Well, how he dies is one. We don't know how he dies. Well, we do, but we don't see anything. It's one panel with how he dies. I don't know. My problems with this issue are actually I love the world building. I love all that stuff. I love the premise. My issue with the issue, copyrighted, is more of with dialogue and writing wise, personally.
I just think this is very fun. I think this is very fun.
Mad fun. Yeah, I completely agree.
So she's just jamming, right? So we're gonna get through this. She's just jamming out, and they're just like, "Yo, listen," and they're talking.
Yo, Def Leppard.
Yo, Def Leppard, and they're like kind of hackling her a little bit, which is like, and she's just like having a bad day, right? And that's like really the life of Peter Parker in a sense, but it's like it's a different sense of struggle, but it's like the same like. When you see Peter Parker, right, you understand that he makes everything work when going through the worst scenarios, right? When he's like down to the dumps, he's terrified of everything, which makes him so humanizing. I think Gwen kind of like being in that depressed state, trying to see where she fits in the world, is very much like someone could definitely look at her in that same situation and consider her a role model, right? I mean, we've all been there. So I thought that was like very, very thoughtful. Even like her hanging from the rooftops, like just like looking out.
And I like the premise of what if basically her reason for her great power, great responsibility is also the reason she's like being hunted by the police. So she actively is compelled to be a hero because of Peter Parker, but is trying to be stopped because of Peter Parker as well. So it's this really cool dynamic where Peter not only motivates her to be a hero, but also is the problem that is facing her at this moment. And of course, that problem will eventually be resolved.
Because it's
like, a superhero can't run from the law forever. But it's just really cool to have Peter Parker kind of motivate Gwen from two directions. And I think that's really cool. And I like how they handle Peter in this universe. You know, he wasn't just like a side character or whatever. Like, he's integral to the mythos without actually being Spider-Man.
Right, you know, and I thought that everything that they did in this book, or not, maybe not everything, but most things that they did in this book were very thoughtful. There's a lot of underlying topics that, because it's such an easy read, it can get missed, which is just a sign of good writing and good development. So if you missed out on like some of the stuff we're talking about, it's just because it's a well-written story and you can follow.
Mm-hmm. I like seeing Matt Murdock.
Yeah, I like it.
That was
obviously.
I really like the different takes on the characters because one of the things that the Ultimate Universe did was it picked and chose which characters that it wanted to be basically exactly the same as 616 and which ones it wanted to be vastly different. So like Deadpool, very different from the 616, but Daredevil, Spider-Man in a lot of ways, and the Punisher were just the same exact characters as they are in 616.
Yeah.
Right, so like like you said, they picked and chose.
Yeah, it was cool seeing Daredevil like as working for the Kingpin.
Yeah,
that was like whoa, like I did not see that coming, and I like seeing like the characters with their powers and abilities, but like as the bad guy,
right,
or something like that. I did that. I thought it was a good move.
Like, obviously, we know that her father is still the captain of the police station, and she is being blamed for the murder of Peter Parker. And obviously, so the cop who finds her is shooting at her. She gets away. She does her little thing. And then Matt Murdock, as we mentioned, makes his appearance, and he wants to help. He wants to help her. So the Mary Jane's then have a concert, and she misses it. However, some big dude, what's his name?
Alexi.
Is that
the Rhino? Supposed to be?
It's supposed to be a play on the Rhino, yeah.
I thought it was like a play on Solomon Grundy.
Solomon Grundy's different universe style.
Who is the Rhino in 616? I can't remember his name.
Alexi.
I think Flip Marco. No.
Oh yeah, Alexi Stasevich.
Flip Marco's the Sandman.
Not from Oh no! Oh,
Alexi. It's Alexi something.
It's Alexi Stasevich. Some Russian.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm about to offend another country.
I do love how you know, of course we have Gwen Stacy, who was, you know, the most drastically different thing from our conventional 616 Spider-Man. But no matter what universe you're in, no matter what Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, Spider-Ham it is, they're always going to be late. It's a universal trait of being a spider character.
It's the Spider-Man gets in the way of their personal life kind of thing.
The Spider-Man 2 classic.
And Santana Golden, who's been very interactive in the chat. Thank you so much. As the thing I have against the Edge of Spider-Verse storyline is that when they got to issue 2, they wrote Peter Parker as he becomes a lizard. Peter would not do that, but that's the thing about the Ultimate Universe. You know?
I don't mind that though. It's kind of
because it was like a different direction. If every story was the same, then it would be very cliche, and you wouldn't really get attached to any of these characters because they do have other motives for being what they are today. You know, you look at Matt Murdock; he's a different motive for being Daredevil than Elektra's being Daredevil right now in comics. You can say the same thing about Miles Morales and Peter Parker. You say the same thing about Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen. You know, so if they made every origin the same, then. But
Santana, I would agree if the 616, if it, at the end of Sinister War, Peter Parker's like, I can't compete anymore, so he makes himself the Lizard. I'd be like, all right, pal, that's not Spider-Man. I'd agree with you there. This is an alternate universe, a different interpretations of these characters. You know, Gwen Stacy in the 616 was the farthest thing from a drummer in an all-female heavy metal band.
Right.
So I like the different interpretations of the characters, you know, and we have like the Earth One characters in DC who are basically just the normal people.
So what he's trying to say?
He froze out again.
That is
He'll be back.
Hello?
Yep, there you are.
Hey,
Yep,
sorry, my Wi-Fi cut out again. Alex, my little brother, he takes up all the bandwidth. I don't know with what, but I'm gonna move on. Yeah, Sigma male. But I love seeing different interpretations of the characters. Like Chad said, in the either vastly different or pretty much the same with only minor tweaks.
Right, and I think the fact that we didn't know anything about Peter Parker before like he died, other than that he was a lizard, gives us more to settle with. Because like, okay, we didn't know anything, so we didn't get attached. We didn't get attached to this Peter Parker, other than it's Peter Parker, and we know who that is.
His parents could still be alive. He could have never learned the great power, great responsibility lesson.
Exactly. So there are a lot of what ifs, which are very.
We saw him getting bullied, which to me was enough indication that this Peter Parker is similar enough to 616, so that you would still care about him. Mm-hmm. I do just wish that we saw how he died. I wish that was like
embellished
more. Like maybe I think he should have started with Gwen holding his dead body and said, "Peter, what have you done to yourself?" And he's like, "I just wanted to be more like you," and then it cuts forward or whatever.
Right. So anyway, where we are in the story right now, to get kind of things back geared over here, is she defeats the Rhino, or this iteration of the Rhino, and her father holds a gun to her head, not knowing that it's her. So she takes her mask off, and it's just her and her father. And he kind of like grants her permission. He's like kind of being the Jim Gordon to the Batgirl, and she goes swinging, and we see this Spider-Man. It looks like a British Spider-Man,
Spider-Man UK,
British. And we see that she will return it in like normal, like in the next tie into Spider-Verse. So I think my overall thoughts with this book is it did a lot of things that it had a lot of lore to it. It did a lot of things right. Some things were kind of just like, okay, yeah, cliche as hell, but I very much enjoyed this iteration of the character. I really did. I really enjoyed the way that they decided to take things in their own direction and give a unique story to a character that has had so much of the same mythos and the same legacy.
I think and that's a great segue into the comparative section of the video of moving into Hall of Fame, Hall of Shame, what we think. And the answer is the question is what makes you want to read more about the character? And if they were like, all right, let's just say it wasn't called Ultimate Fallout #4 and it was the next Spider-Man #1, and that was the issue, for example, and this was just the Amazing Spider-Gwen or the Amazing Spider-Woman #1. Just put these exact issues in those hypothetical situations. I would be excited to watch Gwen Stacy become Spider-Woman and her new cast of rogues, see how Matt Murdock is working with the Kingpin, see, these reworked Green Goblin, everything. I would have been really excited to read that series and expand the Spider-Man and Spider-Woman, in this case, world, rogues galleries, how is just her relationships with her other friends going on, and how does she, deal with the band, her relationship with Mary Jane, I think it'd be really interesting.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah, I would read that series of just basically the Amazing Spider-Man series, but set in this universe with Spider-Gwen. The Miles one, I would have been like, well, why don't I just pick up the regular ASM series? There's nothing that distinguishes this person. Right. Gwen, although obviously Gwen Stacy was a character, but this doesn't resemble Gwen Stacy from the main 616, is not a Peter Parker allegory in female form. She's a bit more confident, a bit more sad, honestly, a little less quippy.
There's a lot more relatable, in my opinion.
Yeah, I kind of. Maybe it's because I'm not a woman, and I don't mean
to say Ryan.
No, but I obviously I relate more to male characters. It just makes sense, But yeah, I'd read the hell out of if this was a number 1, I'd pick up issue number 2. If the other one was number 1, I don't know. Like if it was a light week, maybe, but if it was a stacked week, probably not.
Right. Chad, what are your thoughts, bro?
One of the things that the Ultimate Fallout has as a handicap is the fact that it is an anthology, so you're really getting 3 stories there in one, and the Spider-Man story is essentially 1/3 of the length of what a full length issue would be. I feel like if it was more fleshed out, you could have maybe had more depth to it. But in terms of just how they are as they are, I definitely have to give it to the Edge of the Spider-Verse, because I would definitely read the Spider-Gwen, the Spider-Woman story. I really liked what they did. They built on they took the components of the 616 universe and shook it around. But I feel like the Ultimate Universe Spider-Man was kind of just the universe was kind of dying. I mean, after all the Ultimatum, they killed most of their not most, but like half of their heroes. They killed Spider-Man. So I feel like Miles was at that point kind of waiting around in dead water. And I do like the fact that we. Let
me just say, you guys are more than welcome to throw your opinions in. If you guys want to vote, if you guys want to vote, let us know your thoughts.
Yeah, everyone.
What do you guys think? Even if you're watching this on the replay, take two goddamn seconds and comment what do you think.
Yeah, we're interested to know. Seriously.
Comment what you think the winner is. Comment what you would want the outcome to be. Now, keep in mind, you're not saying, okay, this character is better than the other. You're saying this was a better starting issue.
Yes.
And keep in mind, you're saying, I enjoyed this issue better. Not this character. I enjoyed the contents of this issue over this, and it made me more excited to read the next issue. That's what we're voting on. Sorry, Chad.
But yeah, so I mean, I'm happy that they brought Miles out of the Ultimate Universe, because that was like almost a dead zone at that point. So I have to give it to Spider-Gwen, but I honestly, what I liked most about the Ultimate Fallout issue was the Reed Richards story. I felt like that was executed best. It got me kind of like, okay, who is this madman Reed Richards? Like a man who's lost his mind, and I would definitely read a Reed Richards story. Out of any of those 3 from Ultimate Fallout, definitely I would be picking up the Reed Richards.
Right, and the thing about the Maker, or as we know it right then and there, the alternate version of Reed Richards, it was a great play on, okay, well, how powerful is this guy? How smart is he actually? Not,
It's like Batman. He's like the most dangerous man in the world.
I kind of compare it to Batman Who Laughs. Chat, let us know what you guys think. Let us know what y'all think right now.
Yeah, please. I'm actually really interested.
I have to give this to Edge of Spider-Verse. I enjoyed both these stories. I honestly, if you are comparing these 2 first solo series, like Miles kicking off in the Ultimate Comics, Spider-Man's obviously still staying in the Ultimate Comics. I love them both the same. They're both fantastic stories. I highly recommend. You want more readers, but stay tuned, because Al Ewing is setting a lot of stuff up in his Guardians for the Maker, and everything is coming full circle. I read Guardians 15 today. I was like, wow, there are a lot of Easter eggs. But definitely make sure you guys go back and you pick up like the Ultimate Collections for Miles' first series. Is a great way to read it. I have all of them. Spider-Gwen, I have all the single issues, because I was really buying that at the time. Like the movie Who is Doc Ock? Yeah, exactly. So I can't recommend them enough. They're both like great reads, especially if you want to dive into the Spider-Man mythos and you don't know where to start. I think the Ultimate Universe, like with Ultimate Spider-Man, Spider-Gwen and Miles, are great places because they eventually embed into the other one, which is the beauty of it. So definitely, if you do want to recommend it, I will recommend it to you guys. But for today's purposes, I'm throwing a Spider-Gwen as the Hall of Fame.
We're all in agreement.
Yeah, we're all in agreement.
This never happens. This is like a second appearance. In 15 episodes, we're all on the same page. Wow.
We move.
I mean, that era of Bendis, I mean, personally, I love Brian Michael Bendis. He wrote some of my favorite comic books ever. But around the 2010, 2011, he kind of just, I don't know what really happened. It just kind of went downhill, and the Ultimate Fall issue does suffer from that kind of bendicitis, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, I got
It's Bendicitis has always been there, but at least like Daredevil era, Jinx, Ultimate Spider-Man, it's good writing, so you can tolerate the Bendis speak, and it actually works really well. Then when he started to not be as great of a writer, but still have the Bendis speak, it gets a bit insufferable. Like, look at Justice League right now. That's peak.
Did anyone here read Checkmate?
Chad did.
I did.
How was it?
It was awful.
Okay. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not wasting my money on this. And I'm like,
And I mean, Bendis and Malieve, they did Daredevil, which is my favorite Daredevil run, and
it's kind of hard not to pick it up, but at the same time,
exactly.
like, not the same.
But like I picked it up, and there was absolutely nothing in that issue that like made me want to keep reading it. I picked it up because I saw the question on the cover, and he has like one line. It's not even really about the Checkmate group. Damien and Talia have more lines than anyone else, and I was like, I didn't pick this up.
Other book right now. You can read them in a Bible. So it was like, okay, so I guess it's like not time enough. I know this book has been written already. Like, Bendis completed this as a sequel to Leviathan, so I guess
And who's even read Event Leviathan? My God.
I did. I mean, I read it because I was genuinely curious.
Did it pay off well?
No, it didn't. It's paid off. I could have predicted this I could have predicted like 2 months before it even came out that it was a freaking Martian. Or was it not a Martian, it was a Manhunter. So it was really stupid. But anyway, you guys, wow. This episode 15. Next week's theme, we're gonna let you guys know. We're gonna the theme today. We're gonna figure it out. Talk amongst ourselves. I kind of want to do a Herald of Galactus. That'd be really cool.
Thor
versus Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Yes, Donny Cates. I'm so down for Donny Cates.
Chad, are you good with that?
I'm down for that. I have no idea. I've never read any Ghost Rider ever.
Either.
So we're gonna read Cosmic Ghost Rider #1, 2 Donny Cates books.
Sweet. I'm down for that. That sounds like a good time.
Wow, that's crazy how it works out. Thank you, Ryan.
That was to you, Chad, and most importantly, Donny Cates. Donny Cates, I love you. Please, if you're seeing this, I love you. I love you, Donny Cates.
And that is the show.
In a purely platonic way, I must mention.
Are you done?
Yes.
All right, guys, this has been weekly wrap up. If you got not weekly, right? This has been Crisis. No, this is not the show.
No, twice.
Hall of Shame. This has been Hall of Fame or Hall of Shame. That ending goes into the Hall of Shame. Holy shit. All right, my God. Take care, you guys. Have a great night. You can find me back here on Thursday. But for more content, make sure you guys check out the Daredevil video they dropped today. Their link is in the description below. Also, check them out for Wednesday Warriors. Oh my gosh, I butchered that ending. Take care, y'all. Hope y'all enjoy the show. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you wanted to ignore the past 2 minutes, but go for it.
I love you, Donny Cates.
Keep reading, everybody.
# make Ryan Mead X-Men.